All right, Gervase, you're officially the most successful person that's ever been on the podcast because you have won a Super Bowl. So we have a Super Bowl winning NFL athlete here who took a path that was, hard ass worker. People would use the word overachiever, but we've all had DeMarco said it best. The word overachiever is just bullshit. So Jake Gervase, what's it like to be a Super Bowl champion, man?
It's pretty sweet. Like you said, I would definitely say overachiever. As Coach Parker used to say at Iowa, every once in a while, basically every time I got a pick, he'd say a blind squirrel finds a nut.
That's fucking.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Still don't know if it's set in yet because I'm still playing. I think it really will kind of all hit whenever I end up hanging the cleats. But no, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been an interesting 4 years, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, just like my time, my 5 years at Iowa. So it's been fun, but I've learned a lot and had a good time. Both 5 years at Iowa, 4 years in the NFL. It's been a hell of a ride so far.
Jake and I know each other because we were at Iowa at the same time for our listeners, and part of the reason I wanted to have you on was you had a unique experience as to kind of nerding out, for lack of a better term, and kind of loving the weight room and loving it as a player. Talk about the importance of it in college and in the pros, because I've seen it as a coach, but you've seen it as a player. Can you just give us a little bit of an insight into what it's like?
Yeah, for sure. Going into Iowa as a walk-on, I knew like the weight room was going to be my end-all, be-all to success. If I wanted to find my way onto the field, I was going to have to be coachable, get strong, fast. If I was going to try to play safety in the Big Ten, came in at about $185, $190, and I knew if I want to be successful in Big Ten football, I'd have to put on 15, 20 pounds while getting faster at the collegiate level. So from the get-go, I just really enjoyed it. Awesome staff there at the University of Iowa during my time. And, Iowa being a developmental program, taking guys and putting on weight, bigger, faster, stronger. That's what allows us to compete with some of those bigger colleges, universities that can get those big recruits that we don't necessarily get. So I think that's part of the reason we found success. During my 3-4 years of playing, whether it's special teams or safety at Iowa, we didn't lose very many football games. Definitely weren't perfect, but a lot of that came back to our time in the weight room and developing guys from walk-ons who ended up being starters, team captains, and lower recruits that ended up being all Big Ten, all-American guys. And that's just the Iowa football program in a nutshell. And then once I got to the NFL, it's definitely different because you got guys who are in the NFL super young, 18, 19 years old, somehow went through college in 3 years or, got drafted young. And then you've also got guys that are, in year 13, 14 in the league. So not everybody's doing the same lift. It took me a little bit of time to adjust coming from a program like Iowa where it's like, hey, toe on the line, we're going to do things right, we're going to do things 100% all the time. Where you get to the NFL, it's almost a step back. I don't want to say it's relaxed, but where I was in LA, it was a totally different vibe, and it took me some time to get used to, because the reason I was successful at Iowa was because, like you said, I was very regimented in my attention to detail and being coachable in the weight room and loving to work out, where in the NFL, at least in my experience so far with the Rams, it wasn't as intense, so to say. We got good work in, we had great coaches, amazing training staff, but it was definitely a little different feel that I think allows guys, whether you're in year 10 or in year 1 as a rookie coming out, everyone could get good work in and optimize performance on Sundays. Instead of developing guys, you're kind of already at that point where it's like maintain strength, maintain speed, go out and play good football on Sundays.
You talk about playing on Sundays, and in Iowa it was pretty routine. We played Saturday, like maybe there was a night game, but it wasn't too much of this Friday, Sunday, blah blah blah. You had to do a lot of that in the NFL, and you still are. How do you take care of your body to be able to handle the rigors of it with a non-normal pattern?
Yeah, it's all about finding a routine. Find a routine and stick to it. Even though I've been in the league 4 years, this was the first year where I actually made the roster from the jump. I played in, all up until I got hurt, I played in every game the first 15 weeks of the year. And I found a really good routine, whether it was we were playing on Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. Every morning I was doing a 25-minute sauna followed by a 4-minute cold plunge every day just to start the day. and then a nice little mobility routine before bed with a foam roll and stretching out. And then, like I said, the practices, definitely getting good work in, full speed, but it's definitely a lot less of a load throughout the week in an NFL game week. So my biggest thing was just finding a routine that worked for me and sticking to it. And it's kind of the same thing I did at Iowa, just not as intense in terms of the weight room and the on-field prep. But that's my biggest advice, and the thing that's guided me throughout my career is finding a routine, sticking to it, and just being consistent day in and day out.
This audience, we have people that are either here in America or overseas, and there's been a big rugby following too. Both coaches and rugby athletes. The reason I'm asking this next question and prefacing it with that is, you were now playing in the NFL with dudes you maybe used to look up to. And what was that mindset shift like? And what would be your piece of advice to any of our listeners, whether they're going to play American football or any other sport, and they're now playing with people that they used to look up to? How did you handle that, and what do you recommend?
Yeah, it's crazy asset. I actually just recorded a video about mentorship for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. One of my buddy works with them, so I sent out a video about that earlier this morning. And in that, I talked about I was lucky enough to find and have a relationship with Eric Weddle. He's someone he was my hero growing up. Like, safety in the league, drafted, became the highest paid safety at one point, absolute killer on the field. In my rookie year, he just signed with LA. He was I think my rookie year was his 10th year. Going to be a Hall of Famer. And as soon as I got signed to the 90-man roster after Pro Day and the Combine and all that stuff, I kind of kept my distance at first, but then I was like, I'm just going to try to take advantage of this. This dude's he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's first team All-Pro. He's someone that's absolute grinder. I'm talking about this dude worked out 7-8 times a week in the weight room, lifting, getting after it, extra stuff. So that was someone something I've always, preached was find the hardest worker in the room and go outwork them. And that's something I kind of prided myself on. That was pretty tough to do my rookie year with him because that dude was just grinding at all times. But he allowed me to attach myself to him at the hip, whether it was extra film, whether it was extra lifts a couple times in the week during the morning before anything kicked off. I just kind of found him to be a great mentor. Without him, I don't know if I would have stuck out the next 3 years in the league with some of the ups and downs that came with it. But definitely just finding someone that you look up to, whether it's on the team, whether it's someone that played before you, and just having someone you could kind of touch base with, talk to, help you through some things, whether it's questions about technique or off the field issues, whatever it may be. I'm a big believer in trying to find a mentor, sticking with them, and they can definitely bring out the best in you throughout your process.
You just alluded to it with the ups and downs. I don't know anything other than maybe seeing some being on the roster, being not on the roster. You play a role that people see a lot of as the personal protector on punt. What was kind of your journey, and what did you learn, and how has it made you a better now husband and father?
Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey, that's for sure. I mean, I think at this point, I've only been with the Rams. I've been cut 6 different times in my 4 years. There's been times where they signed me back to the practice squad. There's been times where they, 2 years in a row, they sent me home for a couple weeks and then brought me back after either checking out a new guy and not liking what they saw, or somebody went down with an injury, whatever it may be. It's been tough, but at the end of the day, it's found a way to work out, and it wouldn't have happened without the support of my wife, Haley, my friends, my family. There was a point in the season last year, which was 2 years ago now, I should say, which was the year we won the Super Bowl in 2021. I had moved to linebacker. I thought I played well in the preseason. Ended up tearing my oblique 2 days before the last preseason game. And personally, me, I'm like, I'm going to play through this. I'm going to show them I'll die to make this practice squad. I knew I wasn't making the team with the linebackers we had. I'll do anything I can to make the practice squad and just be around. Played in Denver, at Denver with that. Played terrible because I couldn't walk. Couldn't breathe. It was a shit show. They ended up sending me back home. 2 weeks later, I get healed up, cleared by a doctor. They bring me back. I'm on the P squad. And then throughout that season, leading up to the playoffs, I got elevated from the P squad week 7. And then they had brought in 2 other kids off the street to the active roster over me. So like I'm sitting there on the P squad, like, why am I even here? Like I'm calling my dad, telling him like I think I'm gonna quit. Like I'm ready to walk away. I don't get why I'm here. It's not worth it. It's not worth the strain on, my marriage, coming home from work and being in a shitty mood. It's not worth the strain on my mental health. Like I'm not in a good place. Like I'm ready to quit, call it in. Just some reflection. My dad kind of said, if you look back 3 years ago, you would have done anything to be on an NFL practice squad. So like, just put that in perspective. Like, and that's what it was at Iowa too, right? It's like, I'll do anything to be on the scout team special teams. And then once I'm on that, I'll do anything to be on starting special teams. And then once you get that, it's like, I'll do anything to be in the 2 deep and then start at safety. It's like, you're never satisfied if you want to keep climbing the ranks. And like, he kind of put that in perspective. And thank God I didn't walk away, because I ended up playing really well in week 17 on an elevation. A safety got hurt, which wasn't even my position. I'm a linebacker now. Since he went to IR, a roster spot opened up, and I got signed to the active roster and started on special teams in all 4 phases. Our playoff run, and ended up being, a critical role in a Super Bowl championship team. So like, it was a hell of a ride. It was hard. At the end of the day, it's like easy to say now it's all worth it, but just never having that regret. Same thing happened at Iowa. Like I got benched. I'm sure you remember my junior year. I got benched during the North Texas game and didn't start for 3 games.
Yeah. And
thought about walking away at that point too. So it's like, shit gets hard if you just take a step back, reflect a little bit, lean on your friends, lean on your family. I really believe if you work hard, treat people the right way, one way or another, shit's going to shake itself out, and you'll learn from it. Like you said, I think it's helped me become a better husband to my wife. I'm a new dad. It's been 3 months. We're learning every day, but it's definitely shaped me into the person I am today, and just continue to try to be moving forward.
So,
as you... Oh, go ahead. Go.
I don't know if you let me usually conduct the American sport chats, because, you know more of the sport than me, but I really like here in the really good message. I think the big one, the big rock Jake is giving away, is that that mindset, that word he's dropped a couple of times, like being coachable. It all points out to being process oriented, and when things that you can't control don't go your way, is what you rely on, like your big structures, and the people around you also like supporting and being part of that strong environment that you have as a human, as a person, like family, wife, friends. So then when things that you can't control, which in sport and in life, they're everywhere, you always go back to, listening to someone, asking for advice, learning. And at the end of the day, like you said, if it ends up like not working out and you look back, in this case, it did. Congratulations on that one. You just look back and you're probably most proud of the way, of the way it happened. Because say, if it hadn't worked out, then you look back and be like, at least I stuck to my guns. I knew who I was. Whereas some other people, the ones that always end up chasing, being ambitious is good, but the ones that always end up chasing for the sake of the goal, they might look back and say, I achieved all this, I have this medals in my hand, but I'm not really proud of the way I did. I feel like empty. It's like, it's not really, fulfilling, just to do it for someone else or in someone else's way, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with everything you said. And like, the biggest thing now too is like being a dad is like, if the worst, and it's not, but like if some of the hardest times I've ever been through have come from a game, right? It's come from the game of football. My life's been pretty damn good so far, right? But at the same time, I can use all the lessons and all the times I could have quit or could have walked away. Use those as like experiences where like I'll be able to tell my kids about it and hopefully instill that hard work in them or that mindset in them, and just like, just moving forward. It's like I said, it's been I always said once I was done playing football at Iowa, I had no aspirations of the NFL. Like, it was a goal,
Really?
but it was like, it's probably not going to happen, right? And like I always said, like when I'm done playing football, I'm not going to identify myself as a football player. but that's kind of become my life. It's had an impact on every decision I've made in the last 9 years. Is this going to help me become a better football player? Because that's kind of the path my life has taken. It's been awesome, but it hasn't been easy. And like I said, the biggest thing for me is just not having any regrets at the end of this whole process that will, bug me down the line in life.
As you're gearing up.
I was going to bring something that you said up the other day, just a really interesting video when you said, like, winners do quit. And I know some people take the semantics of the words wrong, and everything we see in social media gets powered, and all the attention the sports get. It's hard to say, but when people say, I'll never quit, I'll never quit, if you're fighting the wrong battle, then staying in it, it's not really winning, right? So I think those big lessons, I didn't ask many questions to say that much, because just hearing you speak was a great message to get out there to the people that hopefully will be listening to this. So just knowing when to quit, knowing what to do, and like you said, if the biggest worry you've had is in sports, in a game, I'm assuming I'm not a father yet, but I've been in sport for a while, and when you look back, you're like, well, we lost. I mean, I thought it was the world to me, but then you realize the next day you're still alive. So our perspective and continuous learning, I think, is just works for everyone. I mean, has worked out great for you, and I'm glad to see that.
100%. Appreciate it.
You, Jake and I remember when you got your start at Iowa, you came in, talk about injury. You had a shoulder injury, and you weren't even able to train and play with the team. You were lifting with us during camp.
Not even during camp. I wasn't invited to camp. It was after.
It was after camp. Okay.
Yeah.
I listen. It just all blends together. I remember you doing step ups with chain across you because we weren't allowed to put a bar on your back or hold dumbbells either.
Yep.
What's been your strategy? Because you've dealt with setbacks, and what has been kind of any of your guiding principles or things that have gotten you through it for our listeners out there? Like, man, I've gone through fucking, like, how's this guy staying so positive? Like, you talk about your friends, you talk about your family, like, just elaborate on it to give them some, solid foundations.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just internal or I was like born with it. I've always been like an optimist. Like, I'll get down, don't get me wrong, and mad and pissed and like really frustrated. But like an example, like when I got benched at Iowa, had literally one bad play against Iowa State, got toasted for a 75-yard bomb in a close game. Next
which
week,
we won, by the way. We won that game.
Yeah, won the game.
Thank you, Amir. Yeah, thank you, Amir.
No thanks to me, but the next week I missed a tackle on the first drive, and we go over the bench, and Coach Parker's like, I'm going to put Amani in. Like, Amani Hooker, who's, just got paid. Way better safety than me. Absolutely not, right? But, like, I got benched. I was pissed for, like, a day. And then I remember, like, the 2 days later, already in my head, I'm like, I'm switching to linebacker. I was like, I'm going to put on 10, 15 pounds. Ben Neiman's graduating. I'm going to go play Leo linebacker and start my last year. So I don't know. It's always been like, I get down, I get frustrated, but there's always a way out, I guess I should say, from my perspective. Like, you can always find a way to learn from the shitty things that happen, adapt, change, move forward, and then at the end of the day, if you learn from that, it's not necessarily a loss, right? Like, it's going to mold you into a better person. It's going to mold you into a better athlete. Whatever it is, whatever the circumstances are, take something from that shitty circumstance, and one way or another, if you can turn one aspect from that into a positive, it's going to be big moving forward. So I think just try to find some type of light in a real dark situation, because trust me, I've been dark before. I've gone there, and it's not fun, but like, there's always one way or another you can find your way out of that hole, whether it's friends, family, positive self-talk. Like, people made fun of me at Iowa for being fake juice man because I talked a bunch of shit to the offense, but it was just fun. That's how I got fun in it. And that would be my piece of advice in terms of just staying positive and putting one foot in front of the
other. The whole, like, you went out on a really high note too, though, with everything at Iowa. You guys had the big win against Mississippi State, and then like it all did just kind of continue to fall forward for you. At what point did you realize, like, oh shit, this thing like really could actually happen for me? And then, now you said, hey, I want to be on this, and then, okay, I want to be on scout team. And now it's like, how much are you not going to want to let that, the NFL transition will end, but like, how addictive has it now become for you during this off season where you're like, okay, I want X number of years, I want to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, it's definitely, now that I've gotten like that full taste, right? It's been crazy because like even like the small things, like trust me, I'll tell you, like I work really hard. Like I'm gonna try to kill you on the football field, all that stuff. It takes a lot of luck too for me, right? Like there was one team that gave me the tryout. That was it. Like I wasn't signed as an undrafted free agent, wasn't drafted. I only got a tryout with the LA Rams, and that just happened on a whim. They brought in 20 dudes on a football field for a 45-minute workout. Wasn't even like a mini camp. It was like a 45-minute field workout, and I was the only one they signed from that whole workout. Wow. So, like, I don't know what they saw in me. They saw something as a potential safety prospect and ended up making once I got in the building and, like, started going through that first OTAs and 7-on and, like, 11-on-11 practices, like, then it kind of flipped in my head, like, I think I can play in this league. Like, I may not start at safety, but I know for a fact I can run with the best of them on special teams. And then, like I said, you get the taste of the practice squad. And then, week 7 of my rookie, I got called up and played in my first ever NFL game versus Atlanta. And then it kind of just, through the next 3 years, there was a lot of ups, a lot of downs, like we talked about. But definitely this last year, like making the 53-man roster from the jump. Obviously, we struggled as a team. We were not, good. We had a bunch of injuries, missing a bunch of dudes. Not any excuses. We weren't as good as we were the year before, and it showed. But personally, it was the first time I'd ever been able to, play week in and week out. It took me 4 years to get to that point, but in year 4, I'm playing every game, starting on all 4 special teams, and I finally got that confidence where it's like, I can be a 4-core special teams guy and compete with the best dudes in the league. And now, like you said, it's almost like addictive, right? Like, even though I ended up unfortunately getting hurt on Monday Night Football in Green Bay, had a high ankle sprain, like I'm just itching to get back into a camp. Right now I'm a free agent. I don't know if I'll be back. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be back in LA or not, but I'm all healthy now, healed up. Now I'm just training, waiting for an opportunity. So getting a taste of it and, having some success. I think I led us, even though I missed, 3 games, I led our team in special teams tackles and production and grade sheet and all that good stuff. So now, like you said, now I got a little taste of it. It's like, I really enjoy another 2-3 years of this and just keep taking advantage of those opportunities. I just hopefully get another opportunity to do so.
What's it like to be, traveling across the country and playing against dudes that you used to play with? Because, the NFL, the Hawk NFL thing runs deep. Like, people that don't get to see it anymore. But, I mean, just to give people an insider glimpse, like, what is that like? That's got to be just the coolest thing ever, right?
It is. It's really fun. Like I said, this being the first year, I mean, I was playing full-time. Like, week 2, played against Parker Hesse.
Oh, my God.
In Atlanta. And, like, I could go back to 2020. Parker and I didn't make the team in the COVID year to start the year, and me and him are lifting in his girlfriend's shitty garage in Iowa City, Iowa, in like November. It's like 20 degrees in the garage. We're both considering like, why are we doing this? Nobody's calling. We're not getting any chances, any of that stuff. And then we get to play against each other on Sunday, and he's like the second tight end for the Atlanta Falcons. Used to play DN, all this stuff. So, like, that was pretty sweet, kind of a full circle moment. And then, like, the next week, played against Ben Neiman. He owes me money. He claims I didn't knock him down. I had a knockdown on punt return. We were matched up, and I was holding him up on a punt return, talking some shit. So, it's just full circle. Like you said, you play with those guys for 4 or 5 years at Iowa, and all those long winter workouts, summer conditioning, you get really close with your teammates at the college level, and it's been really cool to get to compete and play against some former teammates. And, now I got their jerseys hanging in a frame at the house, so it's pretty sick.
This is obviously Strength Coach Network, so a majority of people that listen to this are strength coaches, and, a large population of our audience is football strength and conditioning coaches. Being a former athlete and somebody who is willing to work out and train all the time, what is your biggest piece of advice to the strength coaches listening out there about, I'm not like, don't, if you want to talk about programming, sure, but like ability to connect and ability to work with athletes, like, because you've seen so much, what's your recommendation?
Yeah, I think it's just be personable. That's the word, right? Just be personable with people. Like, make it fun, form relationships. Like, it's for me, like, the closest I've come with coaches is when they, we're not talking about strength and conditioning. They're asking about my family, my friends, my plans the weekend. Like, yeah, when it's time to work, like, there's no bullshit. You're getting down dirty, getting after it. But like, the best relationships I've had, whether it's strength and conditioning, position coaches, whatever it may be, there's someone I enjoy talking to, someone I enjoy being around. A big thing for me is like bringing good energy. Like, if you're an energy vampire, like, I'm not going to connect with you. Like I said, people called me fake juice at Iowa because I was always in a giddy mood. And like, some coaches like that, others didn't. But I just think like forming relationships, trying to be close, and then make the workouts fun, right? Like, it would have been 2 years ago. Ben and I went out to Elon and traded with Nick we were out there for 6 weeks. And it was just a hell of a good time because like everything we were doing, he'd mix in certain fun drills and stuff we'd never done before. And like, I see in the videos you're posting, like you're incorporating a lot of that stuff and coming up with new ways to do agility drills or competitive stuff or like on-field simulations. So like, my biggest advice to like a strength coach or just a coach in general, and it's something I try to do when Parker and I that same year, LeVar Woods stuck us with the North Liberty Lightning 8th grade football team. We ended up being the head coaches of this football team.
Oh shit!
Because LeVar was supposed to coach it, and then
they had a season.
Had a season, so like I ended up becoming like a semi head coach for an 8th grade football team while I'm training and trying to get a call back from the NFL. But like, my biggest thing was like trying to get to know the kids and just making it fun. And I think, as a strength coach, as a football coach, whatever it may be, that goes a long way. If you show you care and you want to know how someone's brother and sister are doing, or you want to know how their parents are doing, like, that little thing goes a long way. I think makes a big difference, not only in the relationship, but also the work you're going to get out of that athlete. Like, they're going to trust you. They're going to know, like, they're going to have accountability and take your coaching, and that's going to help take them to the next level in terms of their success too.
It's interesting you bring up LeVar. He and I talked the other day, and I have a linebacker on my team. His name is Mason Woods, but it's not the Mason Woods. Like, you want to talk about a small world. When that kid came in, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Mason's not old enough. And I was like, and why is he coming to the East Coast? Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, that Mason Woods, though, he's starting to get some offers here and there. He'll be the next Woods, playing linebacker probably in the college football ranks here in a couple of years.
So you bring up actually a good point talking about LeVar and your journey in the NFL. Like, you found your niche playing special teams, and so did he. He was that extra linebacker because he could long snap. Like, I heard Yonda talk about it when I was training him back there when he'd come back. He said, like, you get into the league by being able to do a ton of things, but you get paid in the league to be really, really good at one thing. Is that real, and how applicable is that in the world that you're living in now?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty spot on. It's crazy because, the average NFL lifespan is like 2.5 years. It's right before that third year where you get vested, where guys are sticking around in the NFL for that 3+ year mark. And I think, the biggest thing is just like, as soon as for 90% of the league, you're replaceable. Like, unless you're that starting left tackle, like, that's getting paid $100 million over a 4-year span, or you're the starting quarterback. Like, the market nowadays is crazy. Like, teams are going to go young, they're going to go cheap. So like, you got to take advantage of every opportunity you can. You got to put good shit on film. Yonda's probably an outlier because he's a Hall of Famer, absolute mammoth of a human being that was really, really good at what he did. And the reason, for me personally, I've been able to stick around is because I've got that, smart, gritty, hardworking tag that's been put on me. Not saying it's not true, but like, you kind of get put in a box and like, you just got to roll with it, take advantage of any opportunity you get. And if you put good shit on film, if you work hard, if you're a good person to have in the building, you'll find a way to stick around. And like, every year you can find a way to be on a roster. The more coaches you're going to know that are going to go to other teams after the season, the more GMs you're going to know they're going to look at your tape. So it's a stressful for dudes like me. Definitely a little bit different than Yonda. It's a stressful lifestyle, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun, and just got to be willing to ride the roller coaster.
What is, you talked off air before we started about, having all the miniature homes down in Texas. What have you and Haley been doing, getting ready, and just, you have all this extra time now, right? Because you're not in season. So what does life look like when you are not playing football all the time? And then, how are you using that to get ready for the next phase of your life?
Yeah, it's kind of setting up that next phase of my life is the stuff we're doing with the tiny homes. My brother and I are kind of the ones running the show, building tiny homes and renting them out on Airbnb. And I'm not saying that's a full-time job, but that's keeping me pretty damn busy since I've been back.
I'm sure it is, man. Like real estate, I've been learning about it. It is nothing about real estate at first is passive, in my opinion. Right?
No, and it's getting them once they're up and running. It's just kind of the property management side of stuff, which is also annoying. It's like dealing with a shitty guest or restocking the toilet paper. But between the tiny home stuff, I'm still training full time, working out 5 days a week, and then being a new dad. My wife and I, Haley, just trying to enjoy the downtime. It's definitely interesting. Being in LA for 5 months, kind of back in Austin for 5 or 6 months, and then trying to make it back home to Iowa to see family sometime during the summer. So we stay busy, but at the same time, I'm really lucky with, my job right now. I get to be home a lot with the baby. I get to help out a lot, and it's been a learning process. First time parenting is no joke, but it's been a lot of fun, and just enjoy this downtime, enjoy the off season. Hopefully get another season under my belt. Get signed to a team here in the next couple weeks during free agency, and keep chasing this dream as long as I can. But the real estate stuff and, settling down here in Austin, Texas is kind of the end goal to fall back on whenever football decides to be done. I
mean, you clearly are able to thrive in those, this unknown period of time. So, I mean, you two must just have like, oh, okay, if it works, it works. If not, like, all right, looks like we're just going to start this next phase, no?
Yeah, I mean, we've been through some shit. Like, it's just been the first year, after we got married, we decided that she wasn't going to work. And then I got cut before camp started. So it's like the timing couldn't have been worse. But like, she's been amazing, allowing me to chase my dream and, giving up teaching. That was a passion for her is being a teacher. And now she's kind of found her groove being a mom the last couple of months and loves every minute of it so far. And, without her, I wouldn't have been able to, ride out this roller coaster the last few years, but it's been awesome and definitely a fun journey for the both of us, and now hopefully something we continue with baby Ellis for the next few years.
You think after you got your little taste of being a head coach that you're going to want to do it maybe at the high school level, or what? Like, was it too stressful?
I'll never go past high school. I've got no interest in coaching in college or the NFL.
No.
That's what you said at Iowa. Just make it to the team and then to the next thing. That's what you always say.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's what'll happen. That's what's
I've known you for like half an hour, and I just think you're lying.
I've seen the time those guys put in to help dudes like me and teams that I was a part of be successful, and I personally have no interest in it. Like, I'd rather enjoy my time with my family, have the weekend, watch my kids, and like all credit to them. But like, just me personally, no. Like, I could see myself definitely, coaching at the high school level, whether it's special teams, D coordinator, head coach. They've got some pretty competitive football here in Austin, Texas, so I think I could find a place to be a part of. But no, I won't go past the high school level, that's for sure. Well, who knows? We'll see. I mean, maybe there's different plans planned out.
See, there it is. The door is not shut. The door is not definitely still
not even 2 minutes
open.
later. Yeah.
No, the door's shut. It's just not locked. Like, it's a real opportunity. But.
No, man, I don't want to take up more of your time. Like I said, you're a busy man with a new kid. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate catching up with you, man. And man, I hope I didn't know that you weren't on a team because, shit, you should be. So good luck, man. I'll be following your journey.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. It was good to catch up.
Yeah, man. Have a good rest of the day.
Take care. All the best.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.